Our next session is on environmental wellness. It will be a conversation between Dr. Soumya Anbumani and Barkha Dutt, and our topic is planetary care in crisis. Barkha Dutt, as we all know, is a well-known Indian television journalist and author. She has been part of NDTV's team for 21 years. She's won many national and international awards, including the Padma Shri, India's fourth highest civilian honor. At NDTV, she was the host of the weekly award-winning talk show, We the People, as well as the daily primetime show, The Buck Stops Here. Her reporting of the Kargil conflict brought her prominence in India, and she has since covered conflicts in Kashmir, Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Iraq. She's written columns for many national and international newspapers, and she's been an important part of this conclave for several years now. Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome Ms. Barkha Dutt to the stage. Joining her on stage is Dr. Soumya Anbumani, married to Dr. Anbumani Ramdas, the Rajya Sabha MP and former Union Minister for Health and Family Welfare. Dr. Soumya has been at the helm of her NGO as its president since 2005. The NGO was actually started by her father-in-law, Dr. S. Ramadas, the founder of the PMK. As a dedicated environmental activist, she has conducted meetings and symposiums with experts from across the country, and she has, to her credit, a documentary on the Pallikarane marshlands. Dr. Soumya has also traveled across the globe to attend various international summits like the Earth Summit, the United Nations Conferences on Women, the Climate Change Summit, and the Better Air Quality Conference. We're so excited that she could be with us this morning to talk on this very, very important topic. Can we have a round of applause for Dr. Soumya Anbumani?
Before we come to your personal journey, you have spent an entire lifetime trying to work on water.
Yes.
And one of the things you have pointed out is the irony of a city like Chennai being short of water, but also then having too much water just because of the mismanagement. So let's start there, because the right to clean water should be the most fundamental rights of all. There is no life without clean air and water.
Yes. Good morning, and thank you, Radiant Wellness Conclave, for giving me this opportunity to address the august audience. And I'm so thrilled to sit with you, Ms. Barkha Dutt.
Thank you.
Because I'm sure you had interviewed my husband sometime
That's right,
when he
of
was
course.
Minister of Health and Family
Absolutely.
Welfare 15 years back. And my sincere thanks to Dr. Renuka David and Dr. Colonel David Anna for giving me this opportunity to address this conference. And yes, as you said, I've been working with Pasmai Taigam for more than 20-25 years, and our main focus is water. Actually, the whole world is surrounded by water, but all that water we will not be able to use. 70% of our mass is water, but out of that, 97% is seawater like that, and just 3% is good drinking water. And out of it, 1% is in glacier and Arctic and Antarctic ice, and the remaining 1% is underground water. The good, clean drinking water we'll be using is just 0.8%. That we should protect. And half of that surface water in lakes and ponds are polluted. When it comes to Chennai or Tamil Nadu, we get enough rainfall. Almost 940 millimeter average rainfall per year. And we get our rainfall for Tamil Nadu from northeast monsoon, which covers 40% of India. But the rainfall we get goes to sea. The good water we are unable to store. I have visited many dams, Mettur dams, and one day I saw 15 TMC water going to the sea. For Chennai, for the whole year, we need just 15 TMC water. 1,000 million cubic liters of water is enough to solve the drought problem of Chennai. And the constituency where I stood, though I was not elected from it, Dharmaburi, my favorite people there, but the whole of Dharmaburi need just 2 TMC water. But every day we lose 15 TMC water from dams. And we get good rainfall. And all that rainfall has to fall on our state. within a span of 45 days. But what happens because of climate change and global warming, that rainfall falls in 1 day or 2. Last year, 2-3 years back, Ooty avalanche, everyone would have noticed, just in 2 days, 911 millimeters of rainfall fell on Ooty avalanche just in span of just 1-2 days. Imagine where the water will go. There is no storage system, effective storage system. Whatever dams we have built were built during British period, or Kallanai is one dam which was built by our ancient Chola king.
Yeah.
It was fortified by Britishers. After that, no new dams have been built. So there is no proper water storage facility, and whatever water we get goes to the sea. And
so you have this ironic situation of water being both in short supply,
yeah, yes,
but also flooding the city.
yes, flooding the city. Sometimes our Chennai residents, we have started adapting ourselves. We know that rain is going to come. Half of the ground floor residents shift their residence to the first floor or park their cars on the bridges. That is how we are adapting ourselves to the flood. But actually there is a big warning. Another 15 years, all these super floods or super cyclones, super typhoons and super hurricanes coming in Atlantic and Pacific areas, and in our India we call it super cyclones, and all the cloud bursts which happened recently in Uttarakhand, all these things are going to stop after 15 years. We're going to get heavy, we are going to face severe drought. After 15 years, these rains are going to stop. We are going to get severe droughts, and where will we go find water? Good drinking water for ourselves or for agriculture or for the cattle. So we have water management is the key focus area. Whatever water we get in 1 month, we have to prudently use it for the next 11 months so that we are out of the drought situation.
And you have also worked on the ground in areas where the waste from factories in the surrounding areas have contaminated the underground soil, leading to actually contaminated water, where you can actually draw a direct correlate between the water that is being supplied in these areas and, let's say, rising incidence of cancer.
Yes.
And yet nobody tells these stories.
Yeah. From 1996, since the inception of Pasumai Tayagam, we've been fighting for this. In Tamil Nadu, there is a belt for leather tanning industries like Ranipet, Velur and Tirupattur and areas where these Velur and Ranipet, they are called as the black districts of the country also, because you have lots of small and big factories, leather tanning factories, where the effluents, which is containing lethal chromium and the sulfur, everything is released into the water or the ground. So there was, we had multi-level campaigns from Pasumai Tayagam. Dr. Anbumani Ramadas had done cycle rallies, motorbike rallies, signature campaigns, protests, and legal case also have been filed along with many other parties. And there was one case which had happened in Supreme Court because of this leather tanning pollution. And Dr. M.C. Mehta, our senior counsel, has argued that case. And because of that leather tanning industrial case, only green bench was formulated. The Supreme Court had ordered a green bench to be formulated, and there is an order from the Supreme Court to close these factories overnight. And then they came up with an idea called Common Effluent Treatment Plant. But that also, what will happen during rainwater, that effluent will be left out into the vicinity, and during nights, all the effluent water or the toxic waste will be let into the city in and around. So it contaminated land, it contaminated water, it contaminated air. That whole area is barren, no agriculture. Everyone is suffering from cancer, high incidence of cancer and deformities.
And when you went into these areas, you found that the people who were suffering from all these diseases, they did not even know that there was a reason. They thought they were just, they
were punished by God.
They were punished by God, when it was just the water they were drinking.
Yeah, yes. So the people of Velur, Ranipet never knew, because of the leather tanning factories, all these were happening. So only through awareness rallies conducted by NGOs like us, they came to know that this is the problem. So now, but still, the problem has not reached a solution. Though Supreme Court has directed so many initiatives to stop it, close it, there are incidences still happening, and it is an ongoing fight, and we are never going to stop.
You know, you were also telling me this beautiful story about a bird sanctuary.
Yes, Ved and
where
Dangal.
the people care so much about the well-being of the birds that they themselves, not by any law or diktat, they themselves will not light firecrackers
Yes,
in Diwali. And how these birds were endangered and how you stepped in to save them.
Everyone here definitely know about Ved and Dangal Bird Sanctuary. It is very close, just 1.5 hours drive from Chennai. And lots of exotic birds come and sit in that sanctuary because it's a place where a lot of trees are there and water is also there. There is a buffer zone. Any bird sanctuary or any sanctuary, there should be a buffer zone of 5 kilometers or something, so that no development, I would say no factories or any other expansion or any other building can be built in that. So that buffer zone was about to be reduced from 5 kilometers to 3 kilometers or 2 kilometers during COVID. 2020, we came to know about it. We were all at home, and that time this was going to happen, and Pasumai Taigam, under the leadership of Dr. Anbumani Ramadas, started an ongoing online campaign with Zoom meetings and lot of press releases saying that if you are going to increase it, or if you are going to reduce the buffer zone, or you are going to give it to the new factories, then we are going to come and protest there, or file a legal case. Then it was stopped. So that was the one success story. We are very happy because people from that area give us calls and saying it is the birds. They can still see the birds.
It's quite rare for a politician or a political family or a political party to be so focused on issues of environment, planetary wellness, water, the quality of our water, the air we breathe. Typically, when there are NGOs that push for don't bring this factory here, don't bring this tannery here, a politician will, under pressure, think that I'm going to lose votes and will take the other side. How did you end up being a public figure who's so focused on these issues? And do you often cross wires with other politicians on this?
No. Coming from a long line of political, my grandfather was a two-time MLA, and he has also he has fought for the northern frontier struggle, because when Tirthani was acceded to Andhra Pradesh, then he was the one person with all his people there, and they went and fought in the Tamil Nadu Legislative Assembly. 1960, Tirthani came back to Tamil Nadu. Otherwise, it would have still been Andhra Pradesh. And when the states were linguistically divided, then he went and met Prime Minister Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru ji, and met the law ministers, and they somehow, with all this, they found a solution, and in 1960, Tirthani came back to Tamil Nadu. So, long line of, and my father, again, a Congress MP, and I got married into a political family. That all those things are there. It is giving me strength. As an NGO, if I fight, it will be a good cause. But with the political background, I get good, what I say, the press has been very kind to me, and all the mayors
But
or the
do you
commissioners.
find yourself often disagreeing with the positions that other political parties might take? Who say this is anti-development?
Yeah, that is always there.
Yeah.
Everyone will say, we want to build a monorail, you stop it. We want to build a bridge, you say it is, or you want a train, or they will take the lands for any other Naval Lignite Corporation. They will take lands, farming lands. We put up a big fight, and all those things do happen. But all those things motivate us to do more. That's it. So we'll fight more. That's it.
How did you, a sociology college graduate, get so interested in these issues?
Whatever is thrown comes on my way, I will take it and do it with 100% commitment. Even if it is new, if you want me to read Telugu and be a proficient Telugu speaker, then I will do it. So whatever happens, though I am a sociology graduate, I started writing about I started editing a magazine called Pasumai Thayagam Sutruchooral. So I got interested along with it, and then I finally entered running this NGO along with all the. I have a great team, so it is a good deal.
Let's talk a little bit about your personal political journey. As you mentioned just now, your maternal grandfather was a Congress politician.
Yes.
And then you got married to a politician. And then you became your own politician. So talk a little bit about what that journey's been like for you.
Every time I give an interview, people ask me, when are you going to enter politics?
Yeah.
I always say I'm already in politics.
Yeah.
Because our dining table conversations would revolve around society, rural development, women, health, and poverty and everything. So from the beginning, I've seen chief ministers, members of Legislative Assembly and MPs coming to a house and talking about it. And I'll be attending conferences or meetings along with the family members. So, and I got, so it was so natural for me. It was not like, only thing I didn't do before was contested election. I was in the electoral politics for so long because I've campaigned for my husband from 2014 till date. So this was very different when I campaigned for myself, asking for votes. Well, that was only difference. Otherwise, it was a gradual, natural transition. Yeah.
But what has been, in a way, the discovery, even though, as you said, from the very beginning as a young child, there was always politics at the dining table. You have kind of grown up in politics. But to be a woman in politics, to be somebody whose passion is the environment, what have you had to adjust to this life in politics?
Hard work was always my forte. I've never shied away from working hard. And being a woman didn't deter me at all because I had great parents who had never found any difference between my brother and myself. So we were given both equal opportunities and got married to a visionary family also. So there was not much of a challenge. But after maybe family life and all those things, good family support is always a great help. And so much of backing from my husband and my children. So it works very well for me.
And you and your husband have also worked a lot on issues of patenting or trying to patent.
Yes.
You know, a lot of us, you go abroad, you go into a Starbucks and you'll buy a chai latte or a turmeric latte and you feel like, oh my God, this is ours. Why have the Americans taken it from us? Or more recently, Prada, talking about Kolapuris.
Yes. Hermes having vetiver perfume.
Yeah, so tell us that story. Tell us how you all came to look at sort of, in a way, appropriating Indian traditions, civilizational traditions, and, telling the West that, hang on, you're using something that originated here, that was in our roots.
When we were in Pasumai Thayagam, we had challenges facing about turmeric being patented, not by our country, by Western country, and cow's urine. All those things were attempted to be patented by the Western countries. So I remember my husband fighting legal cases and brought back cancelled all those, depatented all those things and brought back to our country. And he created a traditional knowledge digital library where we can, whatever our country has, even if it is a small herb. In Tamil Nadu, we are very famous for treating jaundice, Kiranelli, that is a small herbal plant, where most of us, when is affected by jaundice, we go for that herb. So all those things can be digitalized and documented in that particular library so that no one in the world can patent it. So that is what he brought, the new system where saying, or whatever is Indian, whatever is our own local, that indigenous thing will be patented in the traditional knowledge digital library. That is one way of making it our own, saying it is our own and no one can take claim for it. I remember there was one incident where the Chakki, that was also trying to be patented by some other country.
So in the end, tell us this, that, we have Shashi here, you on stage. Mostly people don't have great things to say about politicians. You go anywhere, people say, oh, politicians are like this, politicians are like that. Do you feel that the life of a politician is hard in a way that you don't get credit and people just like to attack politicians? Or do you think some of this criticism
that is
is
there.
well deserved? Which
No,
way do you look at it?
No. Criticism is always there. And what can we say? We have to change it. So new developmental politics has to be there. So that developmental politics is one thing we are striving for. New age politicians, we have to come up with something so that it touches chord with the common person or the young person. So that is how we have to change our ways. We have to do it, and we also have to grow along with the people. Everything has changed, and we also have to change. And I like being. I would say I am so at home with the ground level people. So that has never changed me, or I like being with the people, and I am so happy because it is not that I inspire them. I get inspiration from the women and the children.
What is the one thing you would like to change? If you had the power to change one thing about Indian politics, what would that be?
Power to change, doing something good for the people.
Like what? What is your dream project that you've not been able to do?
Actually for youngsters, nowadays youngsters, the alcohol and drug addiction has become rampant in our society, in our state, in globe, in wherever we go. So that has to be addressed as soon as possible. That is the only thing we have to do, so that save our younger generation and leave a better world for them is what environmental wellness is all about. So we have to protect our water and save our water and stop the environment pollution. So sustainable development is not only for environment, it is also for the people. So we have to, everyone should be happy. And the numbers, not the economical numbers or the index, it doesn't show that someone is, the smile on their faces is what we have to look upon. So that is the sustainable development we are hoping for.
What is wellness to you? What does the word wellness mean to you?
Wellness is living a sustained, happy life. My wellness is, I would always say, picking up my grandkids from school, picking up and dropping them from school is my wellness quotient. So that is one time I will never part away with. Whatever work I do, when I come home from a tiring day, when my daughter calls and say, pick your grandkids from shuttle class, I will go there and pick them up.
As you got involved in the issues of environmental and planetary wellness, climate change, did something change in your own life, your own relationship with things, objects, food? What changes did you make?
Changes. We were living a very sustainable lifestyle from the beginning.
So what is
I am coming from a rural background.
Okay.
So though I am based in Chennai, my grandfather, my great-grandfather, they are all agricultural. Their lifestyle is agriculture. So we have lived a sustained. That only I want to continue. That is the same lifestyle I would like to continue.
Are you able to convince your children of that lifestyle?
Sometimes yes, but they see me that I should be their role model. Then they will also do it. And they do it also.
And what is if somebody stood up here and said, okay, I would like to change something about my life? You know, there are many times people are not even aware of what it costs the environment.
Yes.
To make a product that we all use every day without knowing about that cost. What example would you give?
We should reduce our dependence on fossil fuel consumption, that is petrol, diesel, natural gas, and all those things. So we should reduce our dependence on it, switch to the alternate energy. That is one lifestyle changes everyone has to do. We have super solar energy. Our country is blessed with solar power that we have to use, And Tamil Nadu was the had a good wind corridor in Nanganeri and Tirunelveli, where we used to generate 700 megawatts of electricity some time back. But that wind corridor, wind energy can be used, but the latest technology is from the sea current. The sea current technology, because we are a beautiful coastline.
Yeah.
Half of our country is covered with our coastline. The sea current, which is underneath the waves, is a very strong current, but the technology has to improve. That is why we are also asking for technology transfer from other countries. The sea current, if you are able to use, then there is nothing like it. That is the alternate source of energy we all have to shift to.
I think, always the solutions are within reach, but the resistance to them is so deep. But we just in our final minute, I want to ask you, 5 years from now, where would you like to be in public life or anywhere else?
See, now I am protesting. I am doing awareness campaigns. There should be a time where I should be able to do something by one signature. Yes.
Something by one signature. You will find that even when you have the right to that signature, it's not easy.
Yes.
There are many others writing signatures on files stopping that signature.
Yes.
But power to change, I think, is what you're talking about. The power to make change.
Yes. If you have power, then we can do something about it. I have seen it in my life. When my husband was the president of Pasumai Thaiyagam, he was campaigning vigorously against tobacco smoking. He had done lots of campaigns in Chennai, cutting big cigarette models and hoardings where if you see one hoarding of a very prominent hero smoking, then he will do the overnight he will hang a bigger hoarding with that same hero's picture and put a cross on it. So that was all those things he was doing. But once he became the minister, when he had the power to do something about it, he brought back the no smoking in public places act and national alcohol policy. All those things he was able to do. So those things, those things are very nice to do something. No, when you were protesting against it, when you have the power, you are able to do it.
Well, I wish you all the best. In any case, it's nice to see more and more women in politics. It remains. I know you said gender is not an obstruction, but if it wasn't an obstruction, I think we would see many more women in our parliament, in our assemblies. So we wish you all the luck.
Thank you so
much. And
much.
also thank you for being a politician who's focused on issues that actually impact life and death issues. Though we don't realize it, the water we drink, the air we breathe is everything.
Yes.
Wellness starts there.
Yeah.
So a big round of applause for
Thank
Soumya.
you.
And thank you so much. Thank you.
Place we are here.
Yeah.
This is called Lakeview. Where is the lake? Just behind this auditorium is the lake, but you can't see the lake now because most of the lakes we have residential
you were telling
complexes.
me that Chennai is actually built on
Yes.
Tell people that here.
There is a place called Lake Area just behind this this hotel. It has a horseshoe lake. It was a horseshoe-shaped lake, but we don't see it now. We have that. We have lots of residential places, colleges. Many of the lakes in Tamil Nadu have been reclaimed to build district courts, district collectorates, police stations, bus stands. So many of those things are built on lakes. Not much awareness there when they were doing it as a developmental project. So those things are.
It just shows how we have demolished.
And the Kuvam River. Everyone knows Kuvam River in Chennai.
Yeah.
That how it has got a very bad name to it because of the stench. But actually the Kuvam River starts in a village called Kuvam. It comes from Kuvam to Thiruverkadu is a very famous temple place. Still that place, that Kuvam River is so good. People drink that water. They use that water for agriculture. They use that water for temple pujas. But once it enters Chennai, it has become bad due to the factory pollution.
You can see how passionate Soumya is about these issues. So many of these things we didn't even know. I, for example, did not know that many of the key institutions in Chennai are actually built on spaces that once used to be thriving lakes, and today you don't have lakes, so you don't have bodies that can collect water when it rains.
Pallikarne marshland. Pallikarne marshland, the only city which can boast about marshland of 12,500 acres, which has now been reduced to wasteland of just 2,500 acres. No other city in the world can boast about a marshland in the city center. We have that. It has beautiful, so much rich flora and fauna, but we have to protect it. We have constant campaign from Pasumai Tayagam has made, and many other NGOs also had made it possible that this marshland, Pallikarnai marshland, has been listed under Ramsar site. Ramsar site, if you list it, that means no one can touch the marshland. But there is a Wetland Authority Act which was passed in 2017 by the Government of India. But that means you have to demarcate the wetlands of all the states and digitalize it, and it has to be gazetted. In Tamil Nadu, we have 40,000, but 15,000 lakes have gone. Rest of the 26,500 lakes are above 5 acres. Not one has been gazetted or listed or marked. We are fighting for it.
Well, as I said, more power to you. Another round of
Thank you
applause
so
for
much.
Soumya, and thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much, Dr. Renuka David and Colonel David Anna, for giving me this opportunity to sit with Ms. Barkadat, and it was a thoroughly enjoyable experience, and addressing this distinguished audience was my was my blessing. Thank you.
Thank you so much to Barka, and thank you so much, Dr. Soumya. Calling upon Colonel David, Dr. Renuka, and Dr. Tarur to please join us on stage to present a token of appreciation to Ms. Barka Dutt and to Dr. Soumya Anbumani. If you would please do the honors.